Hello everyone, welcome to yet another lecture of the Bold Lessons by Overseas Prep Lab. Today we're going to talk about one of the most common pain points of all GMAT test writers, reading comprehension. I'm sure there were no prizes for guessing that, isn't it? Now over the years, with every change in the test format that the GMAT exam has gone through, GMAC has always propagated the fact that there is no escaping reading comprehension. With the GMAT focus edition coming in November 2023, sentence correction was tossed out of the window. Reading comprehension became the sole superpower, as you may call it, in the verbal section. So the bottom line is, there is no escaping reading comprehension. You have to practice and be good at it. Over 20 years of teaching GMAT, one common question that my students have asked me: we don't understand some of the terms mentioned in the passage. Do we need to be aware of the vocabulary that is used in natural sciences, social sciences? Management is still manageable. Now my answer to them is, you can never be an expert in the kind of passages that are asked, because that is not your domain. But yes, vocabulary is important in GMAT for you to understand the answer choices. That's the misconception. Students feel they need to know vocabulary in reading comprehension on the GMAT to understand the passages. No, dear friends, you need to have vocabulary knowledge on the GMAT to be able to answer choices. Now let me explain with the help of a very simple example. One of the most commonly confused areas is the difference between two words, criticize and critique. Now criticize and critique, I have seen many students use them interchangeably because they are confused with the meaning of the two words. Please remember, criticize is used only in a negative sense, whereas critique is an evaluation. It could speak about the positive aspects of a work, it could speak about the negative aspects of a work, or it could remain neutral. Another commonly confused area is when you are answering that question, which will always come. Any prizes for guessing? I guess not. Here's the one. The primary purpose question. Every GMAT passage, at least 90% of them, will always ask you the primary purpose question, and you will have to read the passage and understand what is the purpose that the author wants to tell you by writing this passage. Most of the answer choices of primary purpose questions, usually you will find use three words: discuss, evaluate, challenge. Now you need to understand the difference between these three words in order to be able to select the correct answer choice based on what the author has said in a paragraph. Let's understand this with an example. Let's take a topic under discussion. Here's the topic for you guys: effects of caffeine and its medical uses or side effects on adults. Now, when you come across a passage where the author talks about the details of the research that is being done in order to check whether caffeine has any side effects or whether caffeine has medical uses on an adult, and at the end the author just gives you details of the pros and cons of caffeine intake without expressing an opinion, the author is merely discussing the topic. Let's now look at another scenario. Same topic under discussion, but with a twist. Once again, the author is trying to tell us about research that has been done to check medical benefits of caffeine on adults or side effects of caffeine on adults. In this one, in one entire paragraph, the author gives details of research which has shown some medical benefits of caffeine. In the next paragraph, the author now talks about the side effects or the ill effects of too much caffeine intake. And finally, as a conclusion, now the author says that research to prove that caffeine has significant medical benefits is inconclusive. So what essentially has the author done here? The author has evaluated both the research and has come up with an opinion. So this is a case of evaluate. Let's now look at the last paragraph or passage. This time the author begins in a similar way. The author first tries to tell us what research has been done regarding the effects of caffeine on adults. Author details research that has proved some medical benefits of caffeine on adults, and then in the next paragraph the author again talks about the ill effects of caffeine on adults. Finally, he does say that research proving medical benefits has been inconclusive. And now the author adds something else. The author now brings in results of a parallel study to further prove that caffeine does have ill effects. So what's the author now doing? The author is now challenging any opinion that could say that caffeine has medical benefits. The moral of this entire 3 different passages that I just told you guys is that you need to follow the author closely. You need to understand what the tone of the author is, and that's where your reading will come in very, very handy. Now, one question for all of you. Did you really see me using any fancy words or esoteric words? Not really, isn't it? Most of the times, it's those simple words that you have to catch when you are reading a comprehension passage on the GMAT, and that is enough for you to be able to answer the questions. So one suggestion for all of you, get acquainted with analytical non-fiction. Many students come and ask me, should I start reading about these topics? Guys, you hardly get time to study properly. We all live in a very busy world. So if you are reading anything, read analytical non-fiction, read more GMAT RC passages.